NLZ.
I'll wait.
Chaim Rach.
Okay, I is ready.
Okay, so yesterday we started learning about a new meaning of Kasa Samar. Until now we thought Kasa.
Continuation yesterday?
Actually, not last day, 2 days ago.
No, because I saw it said Purim Cut. Okay.
And did I give it out Purim Cut?
Yeah.
So we learned a new meaning of Kasa Samar. Kasa Samar, and the way it was translated by the previous Rebbe was Jews are in Gullus, they're going through hardship, as it was when he was saying the Maamar, he was living the discourse and talking to people about sending their kids to Jewish schools and defying the communists. So that's one way of reaching the essence of your neshama, by being crushed by the pressures of the KGB and the NKVD and the various decrees against the Jewish people, and defying them, doing what Hashem wants anyways. That's one way to reach the essence of your neshama. And we learned another way. The other way is that everything's going well. Just like after the story of Purim was over, after the miracle of Purim happened, Jewish people have light and joy, gladness and honor. Everything's going wonderful. And they're still broken because they can't see Hashem. What's bothering you, you're connecting to the essence of your neshama. That's the essence of your neshama.
Bothers me that it doesn't bother me.
Okay. All right, that's another day. That's a level for sure.
Thinking about it. Wow, how often do I think about that?
So what the Rebbe said was that every Jew wants Hashem to be revealed, and it's something which you care about in your very core. Your very core wants and cares that Hashem should be revealed. And if Hashem isn't revealed, if godliness is not revealed, you're broken by that. And just like the Alter Rebbe said, I don't want Gan Eden, I don't have it, all I want is you. So too, that's what every one of us wants. And when we're conscious and we feel that and it bothers us, we're getting in touch with the essence of our neshama. So, in these two translations of Kos Lamor, Chaim Peretz, good morning, Ellen.
Good morning.
In these two translations of being crushed to reach the luminary, which one's higher? It would seem that the people who had to defy the decrees of the communists, they reached a deeper level than us who were, and the language of Hasidim, the chocolatnikers, us chocolate eaters.
That's for sure about that. Seems a huge challenge for people to overcome themselves.
Right, and that's what I was going to say. I was going to say that it's actually our arrival at the core of our soul with to feel that we want Mashiach now, and it bothers us. Why isn't Hashem revealed? That actually is deeper and higher than the first model. Let's see why. Shleimar on page Kuf Lamed. Shleimar, by the way, these letters, they make you smarter. And if you look at the letters, just looking at them makes you smart. Shleimar, Bechinas Hamor, then Shama, Mazgalos, I they asked in the customs Eshman Time Magolos, and now see Yeser. Bechinas Hamor, Shem Galos, page Kuf Lamed Vav. So top of Kuf Lamed Vav. Adem is Nefesh. We reach a deeper level of our soul when we care about the fact that Hashem is not revealed than we do to our sacrifice for Torah mitzvahs. Why is that? Let's go back to the story of Purim before the decree. Let's compare that to the giving of the Torah. Let's understand why the giving of the Torah wasn't complete until Haman came around. And when we understand that, we'll also be able to understand what our advantage compared to the generation of the previous Rebbe, and why we specifically are able to get more in touch with the essence of our neshama than ever before. Well, you know what this means like this. Why is it that when God gave us the Torah, it says that our acceptance wasn't full? It just was the beginning of our connection to Torah. And when was there a full acceptance to the Torah? Only after the decree of Haman. Why is that? At the time of the giving of the Torah, it says that God put the mountain over our heads. The mountain over our heads spiritually means that God revealed himself to us. There's a tremendous revelation of godliness. And that's why we accepted the Torah, because of the overwhelming atmosphere that we were in. But at the time of Achashverosh, why did we accept the Torah? Nothing was looming over our heads. There's nothing that was pushing us. We have to do this because there was the environment, there was the atmosphere. There was no electrified atmosphere. In the contrary, Haman was saying, "You be Jewish, you're going to get killed." And yet, that's why it was considered the deepest acceptance of the Torah, because it came from ourselves. It wasn't because of the atmosphere. So continuing on this logic, let's go further. If your belief in Hashem is because your neshama in Gan Eden sees godliness, we said before that there's two reasons why Jews believe in Hashem. One is because part of your neshama is in Gan Eden, and it can actually see Hashem. And your soul, which is in your body, has connection to your neshama in Gan Eden. So that emunah that you have as a result of your neshama perceiving godliness vividly in Gan Eden, that faith that is contributed to your experience because your neshama in Gan Eden is something external. It's similar to the atmosphere of the giving of the Torah. Just like when God gave us the Torah, there was this atmosphere, it was something external, wasn't within. So too, if your emunah is because your neshama sees godliness in Gan Eden, that's external, it's not you. But the time of Achashverosh, we said they accepted Torah from within themselves. What that means is, it wasn't because of their neshama seeing godliness, it was because, the second reason we said earlier, why is it that Jews believe in Hashem? Why are believers children of believers? Where does it come from? We learned earlier, this is because the essence of the neshama is godly. It's not that it sees godliness, it's not that there's a part of us that is in some wonderful place and therefore we are affected by it. It's because the essence of who we are, souls and bodies, the essence of our neshama is godly. So we don't necessarily, none of our five senses can see the neshama, can see the neshama. However, the core of our neshama, which is very much the core of who we are, is godly. And because it's godly, therefore we have emunah in Hashem. So at the time of Achashverosh, the reason why they forfeited their lives to keep the Torah mitzvahs was because of the essence of their neshama, because of the essence of who they were. It wasn't because of the atmosphere. It was because of their very core being one with Hashem. And therefore, it was impossible for them to consider giving up their Judaism. For a whole year, no one thought for a second, you know what, maybe he has a point. Maybe we should change our religion. Maybe we should do something to fit in. Everyone for the entire year said, no, we're not going to fit in. We're not going to follow Haman. We're going to keep Torah mitzvahs. Where did that come from? Because the essence of the neshama is one with Hashem. So here the comparison. There's the giving of the Torah, where we're accepting the Torah because of the environment, because of the revelation, because we see stuff. There is the story of Haman, where we're accepting the Torah because our neshama is one with Hashem. Not for any other reason, not because of any external atmosphere. Yeah, you follow? Not so much.
It's more interesting than People's Magazine.
What happened to cause it? I mean, this is what, 1,000 years, over 1,000 years, more than 1,000 years.
It's what didn't happen. It's what didn't happen.
Something did happen.
What?
Otherwise, why didn't it happen a year before? Opposite, in the Chanetz's time, they worked so by the Zohar. So something must have, there was a trigger there.
So it says the Jewish people are like olives, and when they're crushed, the oil comes out. That was the worst decree ever that affected all the Jewish people, right. and that unearthed their essence. But there was something that didn't happen. First of all, didn't have the atmosphere, so it wasn't anything that triggered them on the outside. And conversely, they were under such pressure that they were forced to come face to face with the essence of the neshama. If we dissect this further, we'll see something even deeper. Look at this. We'll be able to understand why the Hasidim in America have an advantage over the Hasidim or the Jews in Russia, and their connection to Hashem is even deeper. How so? In the revelation of the essence of who we are, there is a similar distinction. The distinction that we're making between Sinai and the story of Purim could be made also further within the revelation of the essence of the neshama. How so? The Gilat Neshama Nefesh If your neshama is coming to the fore, if you're feeling soul because of the decrees that the goyim are making against you, so it may be the core of who you are, but it doesn't feel that way. It feels like something otherworldly. It feels like, oh, like yesterday you were in McDonald's, and yesterday you were frum, and you weren't like so interested in your Yiddishkeit, and all of a sudden, because there's a new Hama now, all of a sudden your Judaism is more important to you than anything else. It feels like something is pushing you. It feels like you've changed. It feels like you're escaping your natural reality and you're embracing something else which isn't you. And the proof is, we see clearly by many people. While they were in a place where there were decrees against keeping Torah mitzvahs, they had actual sacrifice for many years. And then when they arrived in other countries, where they were able to keep Torah mitzvahs comfortably, when things got easier, you can't see in them their Mesiras Nefesh. You don't see their Mesiras Nefesh now. Why is this? Because their sacrifice was because the essence of their soul was revealed. Something deeper, above their intellect, above their feelings, above the more external parts of their soul. That was what was in the forefront of their consciousness when they were under the gun of Stalin. I think I shared with you that Mendel Futafas said that in Russia they were worried about three things. They were worried about matzahs, they were worried about lulav and esrog the whole year. Where could get matzahs? Where could get lulav and esrog? And what should we do about our children? Where could they go to school? How can we teach our children Torah? But now what Mendel said is best friends, they're worried about parking spaces, they're worried about taxes and about diets. That's no more worry. So it's not just that these concerns aren't there, it's that the attitude of people towards their Judaism has changed. And the reason why it's changed, Rebbe says, Rebbe's talking about himself, is that we could see by many people that they don't have that. And the reason they don't have that is because when they did have it, it wasn't them. It was because of the essence of their neshama that was revealed, which is truly them. That's their deepest core. But it's not their persona. It's not their way they think and feel. It was something that was present in them, their deepest part of themselves, but very different to their natural selves. Their deepest self was very different to their natural self. And so when the deepest self wasn't needed to come to the fore anymore because there were no decrees against Torah mitzvahs anymore, they reverted back to their natural selves. A very deep idea. Hopefully, I'll be able to convey it. I was saying, convey to myself first of all. I was saying like this. I was asking, didn't we just say a second ago that this is the essence of who you are? Your Judaism is the essence of who you are. So, if the essence is revealed, why does it go away? If it's your essence, it's your deepest self. So what I think they were saying is that something could be your essence if you dug into your psyche, if you dug into your feelings. Hasidim say that Freud dug very deep into the psyche and he came up with maggots and worms. If he went a little bit deeper, he would have discovered the gold that's beneath. So if we were to dig into our psyche, dig deeply, we want to discover the essence of the neshama. But the essence of the neshama is what is just beneath. It's beneath the surface. It's not the same as the surface. It looks different to the surface. In other words, what Freud was saying about things that he notices in people's psyche, many of those things are true. And although deeper there's the essence of the neshama, it's very different to. It's deeper. It's within it, but it's not the same as the way it looks, the way it's shaped, the way it expresses itself. Your expression and your deepest self could be incongruous. Your deepest self, which is the depth of your mind, the depth of your heart, is the essence of your neshama. That's the deepest part of you. But that doesn't mean that the way your thoughts and feelings are shaped is in sync at all with the essence of your neshama. If I were to dig into your mind, dig into your heart, I would discover the essence of your neshama. But that doesn't mean that the essence that your mind is now shaped. Let me give you. I think I have an example. Like a lot of Jews, who are very well-meaning, and they do lots of incredible things. Like the greatest philanthropists are the Jewish people, but a lot of it is misplaced. A lot of it is like, and therefore we should help those poor Palestinians, and we should give them weapons so they can defend themselves against those cruel Israelis, right? The Jews are saying that. Ben and Jerry, we should boycott Israel. It's a very, if I were to dig into their, yeah. Right, that's my point. If I were to dig into Ben, what's his name, Jerry Greenfield, if I would dig into Jerry, I would discover the essence of his neshama, who just wants to do the right thing. So the right thing that Hashem wants. But Hashem wants the exact opposite. Hashem wants to care about your brothers and sisters. So it is the essence of who he is, but it's very different the way he's thinking, the way he's feeling. He's thinking and feeling based upon what he grew up, whatever. He was grew up in some kind, I don't know how he grew up, I don't know him. I haven't ever tasted ice cream either. But if you were to look through his life and how he grew up, it would make sense that this is the way he thinks and feels, and this is, these are his values. And the essence of his neshama is what makes his care for the Palestinians to be turbo, to be like extreme. We gotta do something about this. But it's still very different to the way Hashem wants us to be. So it may be powered by that. It comes from the essence of the neshama, but it's not the essence. It's at the form that it takes, the form that it's shaped the mind and heart of that boycotting Israel, BSD. The Jews were saying that BDS. That feeling is incongruous to that neshama. It's the opposite. It's the depth of it is essence and neshama, but it's not. Its shape, its form, its expression is diametrically opposed to essence and neshama. Gili, that neshama is so the punchline is: when do you see the essence and neshama? The form. When do you see the shape, essence and neshama? By the way, you're taking off 12 minutes early today. Yesterday, the extra minutes.
This thing is now 3 minutes late. Slow. And I also get too late. People are already on the side.
You left at 6:54. Today you left at 6:52. Anyways, the punchline never says is, I just feel your energy. I feel your energy. That's why. The punchline is that what is the way to your essence in neshama to be one with who you are? When you feel, I want Mashiach to come now. That's that feeling, that desire. Right. So that's just saying, but feeling it, that we want Hashem to be revealed, that means that the shape of my mind and heart is in sync with the essence of who I am. Ebbe goes a little deeper. Ebbe goes deeper, and Ebbe says like this. In the word essence itself, there are two translations. Before we go there, you got Ben and Jerry, you understand it? Don't eat their ice cream. Okay, anyways. Of course not. All right. So anyway, so what we just said was that if you dug deeply into the mind and heart of every Jew, you would find essence and neshama. Although their mind and heart is very different, essence and neshama. There's a dissonance between them. But it's still power, it's still a result of essence and neshama. Now they're saying something else. Now they're saying, let's go back to the Chassidim of Russia. Let's understand what exactly transpired when they left Russia, when they didn't need to have the sacrifice. Where did the essence of the neshama go? Why did it go away? So what Rebbe is going to say is, the word essence has a lot to do with the abstract. Something has a form, and it's shaped and it's crystallized. It's not in its organic original form, right? Then there is the essence of what it is. There's a way it's like, for example, it says Shammai and Hillel, they're the same teachers. They're giving Shammai and Hillel the same ideas. He had to Shammai, this meant to be strict. That's what my teacher meant. Shammai and Italian told us to be strict. And Hillel said, what are you talking about? Shammai and Italian told us to be lenient, because the way they teach it in the pristine, organic form of the teaching that they got, it could have gone either way. Based upon the persona and the soul of Shammai and the soul of Hillel, that's how those teachings got changed to be assimilated to the character of Shammai or Hillel, and to be expressed into being more strict or being more lenient. Yeah. In a similar way, there is the way the soul develops and has various energies. There is the intellect of the soul, there are the feelings of the soul. Then there's the very core of the soul. The very core of the soul, one word you could use to describe it is abstract. It's not defined in various soul energies. It's what's deeper. It's what the soul energies emerge from the essence of the soul. Yeah. So that means that the essence of the soul has a parameter. Its parameter is to be abstract. Its parameter is to be above a form. There are the various energies which have various shapes and forms that emerge from the essence of the soul. Then there's the essence of the soul itself, which is formless. So although we're calling it something infinite, something higher, but in a way, it has a limitation. Its limitation is that it's above a form. It's limited in being formless. You follow? So it can't be in a form, it can't be in a shape. And that's why when the essence of the soul isn't needed anymore, so then you don't see anything of it at all. And the sacrifice they had before, you don't see it in their personas now anymore. Because the essence and their personas are different. The essence is something which is in its own environment, and it doesn't necessarily converge and intermingle with the environment of the intellect and feelings, because it can't, because the essence is beyond the form. Intellect and feelings have a form, have a shape. The essence is beyond form and shape. So the essence can't be intermingling with their intellect and emotions. It can't, because it has no limit. It's infinite, and intellect and feelings have a limit. Unlike Shmaya and Naftalian, the analogy I gave before, their teachings were formless, but they were still teachings. They were meant to go to Hillel and to Shammai and then become crystallized and then become analyzed and become the rulings of Shammai and Hillel respectively. Their students were meant to take those teachings, and teachings were ready to go. They didn't have that form yet, but that form would fit on them like a glove on a hand. Their teachings were still nebulous. It could go either way, but they were teachings of Torah which would lead to a ruling. Unlike the essence of the soul is abstract, and it can't go into a form. And any kind of form is a contradiction to the essence of the soul. By definition, essence and form are a contradiction, and therefore essence will never go into form. It cannot. That's okay. So that entire explanation I just gave you, the Rebbe says that's only one level of the essence, but that's not the true essence. In essence itself, we're dividing between the deepest essence and just the essence of the soul powers. If I were to look at the very core of the soul, the very essence of the soul, not the essence of your soul powers, but the very essence of the soul is one with God's essence. It's one with God. And since it's one with God, so there are no rules, there are no parameters, there's no distinction between form and being nebulous. There's no distinction between this parameter and that parameter. As long as we're talking about separation and division, we're not talking about God's essence. Because the essence of the soul is rooted in God's essence, therefore there is no separation at all between the soul powers and the core. If there's a separation, that means we're not talking about the real essence of the soul, because the real essence of the soul is one with Hashem's essence, and God has no limitations. You with me? So the fact that the Hasidim in Russia, they lost their sacrifice after the decrees were over, that means that they never summoned the very core of their soul. Because if they did, that would become part of the way they thought and felt. As some Hasidim stayed with the sacrifice, it became the way they thought and felt. But when we're talking about us today, asking for Mashiach and caring that Mashiach should be revealed and that God should be revealed in this world, that should happen, that this should become part of who I am and how I feel and how I think. In that exercise, I am getting in touch with the very essence of the soul, the deepest essence of the soul, which isn't in the parameter of being above a form. Only if I'm talking about something which is lower than essence, is there a division between form and nebulous. But if I'm talking about the very essence of the soul, the nebulous and the formed and the crystallized they don't have a separation between them. And that is why they're saying that there's a deeper level of the neshama revealed by us asking for Mashiach than the Hasidim in those days having Mesiras Nefesh. Because their Mesiras Nefesh was a result of their essence being revealed, but the essence was revealed in a way that had nothing to do with who they were as people. And therefore it wasn't the real essence. But if I'm asking for Mashiach because I'm asking for Mashiach, because that's how I feel and I think, then I have come in touch with the very, very essence of the soul, and therefore it's not in some sense far away and hovering over me and triggered by various external circumstances. It's who I am as a person, and that's what they're just in short 2 lines to summarize what we said. When the essence of the soul is triggered by the decrees of the Haman at that time, it must be that that's not really the essence of the soul. Because if it's triggered by something external, it's not the real essence. If it's something which remains hovering above your intellect and feelings, it's not the real essence. But if it's deeper, it's something deeper, but not the real essence. But if it becomes part of who you are, it's the way you think and the way you feel, then you have really just touched the essence of the soul, which is one of the essence of Hashem, and has no parameters, and therefore it permeates and trickles into the way you think and the way you feel and the way you act, and your ideology and your behavior and your character are all in sync with the way Hashem wants it to be. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I'm not happy this.
Okay, let me try again.
We always say that during the times of Galus and Hashem putting you through the test and taking you to the edge of the cliff, that you reach into the essence, which you otherwise wouldn't be able to reach unless he put you in that situation, unless you're in that Galustic situation. And now you're saying that, no, it doesn't really, it's like a fake essence per se. I mean, and how could you possibly know if in that moment you're activating essence? From what you're saying, you can only know hindsight 2020 if once the test is over, if you're still going to be acting the same way and not changing once it becomes easier.
It's definitely essence. It's definitely essence. One of the most annoying ways that Hasidim would answer questions, I got in Yeshiva, I didn't like it, is Venzuhumeret, depends on what you're talking about. Compared to these soul energies of the intellect and feelings, this is essence. The essence Shem is revealed. But compared to where you're going when that makes you when it becomes part of your character, that's not the real essence. Because why is it relegated only to those times? How come it doesn't trickle into your character?
We're not tzaddikim. If you're a tzaddik, then yeah, it'll permeate you to the core. But we're only human, and it takes that situation where you get a gun to your head to say, do this or else. It was like the marriage of Cohen beating the person down. Are you going to tell me that when that guy's getting beaten by the Cohen to give his wife a divorce, that's not real essence now? Because afterwards he'll probably have in his thoughts, I didn't want to do this. I got pushed into this. So then looking back, hindsight 2020, it wasn't real essence that he wanted to do. But we say, no, it is real essence because it's just the Yetzer Hara overcoming us.
I think
it's a bigger topic. Bigger topic.
No, it's you're asking good. I think that I don't think that you are in disagreement with the idea of the essence being able to permeate soul powers and that being deeper and that being higher, because you understand that if it can't permeate the soul powers, it means it's deficient. I think you get the deficiency, right? You agree with me that it's something deficient by the fact that it can't permeate the soul powers. Are you with me on that?
Yeah, it definitely is, because if you go back to the way that you were when you're not in that test, then
that means
it was a temporary flare.
It was a flare. Why was it only a flare? Why didn't it go into me? It was because it was limited. It was limited. The experience was limited. By the way,
but when you're in the midst of that test, in the gullus, having to learn in a room in a basement and doing it with Mesiras Nefesh, knowing that they could bust in any moment and take you to Siberia, that is definitely still essence, but now we're like breaking down essence, which I thought essence can't be broken down, because if you have a piece of the essence, it's the whole essence.
Oh, okay. Now you're saying a question. Now you're saying, how are we dividing essence? Now you're asking a question. What's the meaning of dividing essence? So in one line, the Alter Rebbe says also in Torah, Hashem, tomorrow I'll go into this. This is the Alter asked this question. Pasach Al Yom. Hashem, we'll get into that.
All right.
A good Yom Tov, Reb Zev.